wrong information. Now, another example. Some children should eat broccoli. All children should eat broccoli. The sentence is false because we have some in the passage and all in the statement. So, the information in the statement does not match, although the sentences say children should eat broccoli. Now, I want you to focus on the not given. Now, when the fact is not written, nor was no wrong information written either. In this case, do not deduce is simply not given, which means the information is not mentioned in the passage. We will take an example to explain. Although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered one of the leading pests in the city. The question says, rats are the most common nuisance Torontonians face. The statement here is not given because the sentence in the passage talks about bedbugs and it says are one of the leading pests, while the statement talks about rats and it says the most common nuisance. If we have them as, although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered one of the leading pests in the city. Rats are one of the most common nuisance Torontonians face. The statement here is not given too, because the sentence in the passage talks about bedbugs and it says are one of the leading pests, while the statement talks about rats and it says one of the most common nuisance. It's one of, it doesn't say it's the most, so it's one of and one of, so in this case it will not be something that gives something different or wrong information. But if we have them as, although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered the leading pests in the city. Rats are the most common nuisance Torontonians face. The statement here is false because the sentence in the passage talks about bedbugs and it says are the leading pests, while the statement talks about rats and it says the most common nuisance. So, using one of in the passage made the difference. So here we have wrong information, or as we say, different information. Now, let's take another example here. The first personal computer was invented in the 1970s. Personal computers were first invented in 1970. The statement here is not given because the sentence in the passage says 1970s. The S means time duration of 10 years, that is from 70 to 79, while the statement is specified the year, even if the statement says 71 or 73 and so on. But if it gives a year which is not from the time duration, it will be false, as we explained previously. But if we have them as, in the passage, the first personal computer was invented in 1976. In the question, personal computers were first invented in the 1970s, the statement here is true, because if the year is specified in the passage and we have the time duration in the statement, means the question in which the year is within, the statement is true. I want you to focus on this point, please. Okay, now we are going to take here an exercise to practice. The exercise will be explained with the reasons. So please pay attention to this one. It will be shown in a minute. Please pay attention to this exercise. It's really important to pay attention to this one because it will be explained in a minute. Okay, here is the exercise. The question says, it's on the right, do the following statements agree with the information in the passage? Write a true, false, or not given. Firstly, we read the questions. Number 1, digital libraries could have a more professional image than the internet. 2, only experts are permitted to view the scanned version of Beowulf. 3, the woodblock prints in Tokyo have been damaged by researchers. 4, fewer staff will be required in digital libraries. 5, people may be able to borrow digital materials from the library. 6, digital libraries will occupy more space than ordinary libraries. And 7, the cost of newly published books will fall. So, what we will do first is to look for the first statement, if it is correct, incorrect, or it's not given. The first statement says, digital libraries could have a more professional image than the internet. A second benefit is convenience. Once books are covered to digital form. Sorry, we have taken the wrong one. We need to go back to the first statement. Here, electronic libraries will make today's internet pale by comparison, but building them will not be easy. All over the world, libraries have begun the Herculean task of making faithful digital copies of the books, images and recordings that preserve the intellectual effort of humankind. For armchair scholars, the work promises to bring such a wealth of information to the desktop that the present internet may seem amateurish in retrospect. It says the present internet may seem amateurish in retrospect. Amateurish here means a primitive. So, number 1, digital libraries could have a more professional image than the internet. So, professional and primitive. Digital libraries will be professional, the internet will be primitive, so the sentence here is true. That's why we said the sentence here is true. Let's go to number 2. Only experts are permitted to view the scanned version of Beowulf. Librarians see 3 clear benefits to going digital. First, it helps them preserve rare and fragile objects without denying access to those who wish to study them. The British Library, for example, holds the only medieval manuscript of Beowulf in London. Only qualified scholars were allowed to see it. Let's see firstly. It says here, number 2, only experts are permitted. And here it says only qualified, the only medieval manuscript of Beowulf, only qualified scholars were allowed. The statement, the question is in simple present, and the passage talks about something in the simple past. The difference in tenses gives 90%. The sentence is the opposite. False. Let's make sure. Only qualified scholars were allowed to see it until Kevin S. Tiernan of the University of Kentucky scanned the ancient manuscript with 3 different light sources, revealing details not normally apparent to the naked eye, and put the images up on the internet for anyone to peruse. Put the images up on the internet for anyone to peruse. So, the question and the passage are different in the information. So, in this case, it will be false. Why? Because it says here for anyone to peruse, while if the statement says only experts are permitted. So it gives different information. In this case, it will be false. Number 3. Let's see number 3. The woodblock prints in Tokyo have been damaged by researchers. Let's see. Tokyo's National Diet Library is similarly creating detailed digital photographs of 1236 woodblock prints, scrolls, and other materials it considers national treasures so that researchers can scrutinize means damage, them without handling the originals. Let's reread it. Tokyo's National Diet Library is similarly creating detailed digital photographs of 1236 woodblock prints, scrolls, and other materials it considers national treasures so that researchers can scrutinize them without handling the originals. Number 3 said the woodblock prints in Tokyo have been damaged by researchers. Honestly, we cannot decide here if they were scrutinized, damaged, or not. It's not clear. It doesn't say a clear answer here. So in this case, it will be not given. Number 3 is not given because here it says researchers can scrutinize. We don't know. Did they scrutinize them? Or did they not scrutinize them? So in this case, it will be not given. Number 4. Let's move on to see number 4. Fewer staff will be required in digital libraries. Number 5 says people may be able to borrow digital materials from the library. Let's see 4 and 5 together. A second benefit is convenience. Once books are converted to digital form, patrons can retrieve them in seconds rather than minutes. Several people can simultaneously read the same book or view the same picture. Clerks are spared the chore of reshelving. Okay. It doesn't talk about the staff here. Number 4. Fewer staff will be required in digital libraries. It doesn't say whether we need fewer staff or more staff. So, simply it's not given. Number 4 is not given too. Number 5. Let's look for number 5. People may be able to borrow digital materials from the library. Number 5, let's look for it. Clerks are spared the chore reshelving, and libraries could conceivably use the internet to lend their virtual collections to those who are unable to visit in person. It says here libraries could lend, use the internet to lend. The libraries can lend. So that means the people can borrow. So number 5 will be true. Okay, let's see number 6. Digital libraries will occupy more space than ordinary libraries. The third advantage of electronic copies is that they occupy millimeters of space. Okay, they occupy millimeters of space. Number 6, digital libraries will occupy more space. They occupy millimeters. That means less space, not more space. So number 6 gives wrong information and different information. In this case, it will be not given. It will be false. In this case, number 6 will be false because it gives wrong information. Let's see number 7. The cost of newly published books will fall. Let's go on. Expanding library buildings is increasingly costly. The University of California at Berkeley recently spent $46 million on an underground addition to house 1.5 million books. An average cost of $30 per volume. The price of disk storage, this is really important. The price of disk storage, in contrast, has fallen to about $2 per 300-page publication and continues to drop. Let's see. Number 7, the cost of newly published books will fall. It's not given. Why? Because here it talks about the cost of newly disk storage. The price of disk storage, of CDs, of DVDs. It doesn't talk about the price of published books, and they haven't mentioned anything about the published books, whether they are going to fall or they are going to increase. So in this case, number 7 will be not given. Thank you for watching this lecture. That was Mr. Haidar Qasir with you. I would like to apologize for some net weakness happened of the beginning. That is due to the weakness of the internet in general. Thank you very much for watching. Wish you all the best, and we are going to have another lecture of the end of this week or next week also. Thanks a lot, and bye everybody. Wish you